Yeah, so hi everyone. Welcome to the last day of the cohort. So first of all, sorry for the delay. But actually, like first, what happened exactly was I was busy for a weekend, and after that, Diwali came, and yeah, and so yeah, so like we can continue for today. So just a question, like, am I audible or no? Or yeah, so it's been a delay, so like first we will revise all of those concepts like what we have heard in the previous sessions, because like the continuity is little bit break. So like today we will revise those concepts, and also like we will learn about API, like how to integrate API in Flutter, how to integrate OpenAI API, and various other options like how to automatically fetch data from some internet, and how to display that dynamically on our app. So yeah, I'm just sharing my screen. Let's wait for like a minute, as Lakshit has just sent the message. So like let's wait for a few minutes so that other people may join. Good evening. Hello, Kushal. If you have any doubts, also like we can discuss after this session as well. But before that, like if you like, the reason I'm telling after the session, because it is a bit the continuity is actually broke in between. So when I will revise the concept, it is probably like that error, the issue which you are getting must be resolved. So let's just wait for that, and after session we can discuss. Meanwhile, I'm just sharing my screen so that we can go ahead. Share screen. Okay. So yeah. So first of all, let's just quickly revise like what we have, whatever we have discussed till now. So as I already told, like Flutter is a framework, and the code in Flutter starts from, and the Flutter uses the programming language called Dart. Okay, and in the Dart, the entry point is actually the main.dart. Okay, and the main.dart has a initial function, like without that the code doesn't run, so that function name is main. So this thing, like already we have known, we have covered this thing multiple times. Apart from that, like we have learned like Flutter have all the widgets in kind of functions, and those widgets, what we have learned already are containers. We have learned like how to create a container, how to create an app bar. We have also learned about various others, I think, column, rows, app bar, column, row, also stack we have covered. And inside container also we have learned about various different properties, like how to set the alignment of that, how to create children of that. In app bar also we have learned how to create uh, the title, how to add an icon button. Also we have learned about buttons. So two or three different buttons we have also learned: elevated button, text button, and icon buttons also we have covered. So just don't worry, like we will again create all of those same. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to Android Studio. So I've already created a new project here. So again, I'm just opening the simulator here. And reason I've already told like why I'm using simulator. So again, it's just your choice. If you don't want to use emulator, it is more likely if you use the original real device. Okay. So for that coding, even like when I also test some app, I prefer a real device for the session, because I just want that everyone should be able to see the screen. So it is better to use emulator. Apart from that, there is no such reason to use an emulator. So I'm just running the application here. In the meanwhile, let's create a new page here. So we always named our first page as first. So I'm creating a Dart file with the first, and we have also learned about the stateless and stateful classes. We have two different kind of classes. So how to that's how we create stateless, but I want stateful because we might have to update the UI of that state. So I'm creating the class with the name my first, and I will return scaffold, and we all know the reason why we are using scaffold and all. So yeah, so here we have our app. So here's by default code, so I'm just removing this code. And apart from that, inside run app, we will write material app, and inside material app, we use the home. And I'm just setting it as my first. Just a good revision, like you already know all of those concepts. Just running this app again, and as we see, like we have just added a scaffold, so it is just a white page. I just don't want that debug bar, so what I will do, we have another property with the name of debug show check banner, so I will set it to false. Run this app again, and this banner is now gone. So let's just create an app bar. So app bar. Apart from that, I'm just setting the title of this title as first. So that's how we add first. And now let's create the body of this body container. So this is how we can create a container. And if I want the child of this, so I can just add a child. It can be a text or anything, like I can add here. So let's add a text hi, and it is inside container, so I can just add a few more properties as well as I want, like margin. So I'm just adding a margin edge and sense dot only, and I can just give it a margin from left, from top also. Let's say if I want to add 50, and as soon as I will press Control S, it will just change it. And I've already told like how Control S work, because it is actually doing hot reload here. And what is hot reload? Flutter supports a property called hot reload. And the meaning of this, like as soon as I will save the code, it will automatically update the UI in real time. So it is very much beneficial for developers, because eventually it saves a lot of time for us. Okay. So that is a quick revision, like whatever we have learned. And there's a limitation of container, like we can only support a single child. But what if I want multiple childs? Like if I want multiple text view, I want a button below that, I want a text field. So how to add those part? Okay. So for that, we have another property with the name called column. So I'm just going with it, column. And as column has multiple childrens, and columns work from top to down, and row works from left to right. So we can create multiple children inside it. Like the first one can be the text. I can add high over here. Below that, like I'm just pressing Control S, so we have a higher. And if I want to add a button, so I can add an elevated button. And this is a function, on press function, like whatever I want to put, I can write inside it. And elevate and button has two required properties. First one in the on press function, and another is the child. I want to be the text of this can be the click me. Okay. So as soon as I will press Control Save, I can see the button here. So that is all about this thing. Apart from that, let's add a text field also in between it. So here we have a text field. Press Control S. So here we have a text field. Like initially it is not looking good, but we can set a few different properties here. Like decoration, we can set decoration, and it supports input decoration. Border, we can give it like outline input border, so that it will have a good looking border here. And if we want to again add some margin padding, so we can just cut out this column and paste it inside container, because container has the margin property. And we can give the edge and cents dot all. I will give 20 from all sides. So now we can, now this whole container will have the margin of 20 20 20 from all of those sides. So that's a bit a revision of all of the previous classes. Many other things also we have revised, but we will cover it in some time. Okay. So yeah, that's all. And now my requirement here is like, for example, I want this piece of code multiple times here. So what we will do, the best thing what we can do is just copy this container, and let's create a function out of it. We have also learned about this in the previous session as well, that the Gmail UI, like which you have learned. I have also seen the LinkedIn post where you have added all of those posts there. So what I will do, I will just type a custom container. I will create a function with that name, custom container, and I will type child return. I will return and paste it container. Okay. So apart from that, if I want to use this multiple times, what I will do, I will just remove this container, and I will paste custom container. Okay. And I will run the code. The code will work exactly the same. There's no change here, but like I want to use it multiple times. Okay. So again, body supports only one as a child here. So what I will do, instead of that, I will first get a column, and inside column, what I will do, I will paste this custom container multiple times. as many times as I want it. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. And now as you can see, like we have multiple times it here. And if I paste it few more times, we have some error here. The reason here is our body size is only this much, and we are utilizing and our widgets are taking more space than that. Okay, so how to solve this issue? uh, for that we have another widget with the name of scroll view, and that we call as single child scroll view. So we will just use that widget, and and by this widget we will have a scrolling kind of UI in our system, like we have in the WhatsApp chats, we have in the Instagram, like we can scroll multiple posts in our app. So here, by instead of writing like this, what I will do, I will wrap this column, I will just cut out this code, and I will add single child scroll view. And single child scroll view has a child, and I will paste that child, that column inside this. I will run this code again, and now you can see we can scroll this page, and that error has also gone. So we this is another widget, like I think we have not discussed in the previous session. So yeah, it is new for today's session. So yeah, now you can use all of this, right? Now the benefit of here is, like, even I can type this code multiple times here, but just imagine, like, if I want to remove this text field from here, so what I can do, I can just remove this text field, and it will be get removed in all of those. So this is basically the function like we use in any other programming language as well, like when we want to use the piece of code again and again. So it is a better approach to create a function. So yeah, so now we have created a function, and we can just uh, change, like if I want to change to hi to, for example, let's hey, so I just have to change it here. But instead, like in the previous Gmail UI, as we have seen, we have different uh, the name over there. Let me just add the name. So what I want here is, here the first name should be visible, here second name, third name, fourth name, fifth name, sixth name, all of those names should be written here. So like this thing should not be hard coded. So for that, what we can do, instead of writing it hard coded, we can create a parameter here with then called a name, for example. And what I will do, instead of writing it like this, I will just pass the name inside here. And now wherever I have used this, I have to pass this thing here. For example, name one, for another one, name two, name three, like that we can pass it here, and this will work that way. Like here, hi, here if I pass hey, here I can write hello. So, and let me just remove this one. As soon as I press Control S, it will work. So this thing, like it is a bit dynamic here, but still it is not dynamic, because again I have to write here, and how many times I have to need this, I have to write this multiple times, and this is not a good approach, I think. Okay, so for that we have another widget with the name called list view builder. So I'm just explaining, so you got like what I mean actually. First, just understand the limitation of this one. This approach, uh, just take it as like a WhatsApp chat, like this is a WhatsApp chat. The name here is okay, let's just write in a better way. So it is uh, name here, and instead of elevated button, let's again go with another one here with a text, and I will call it as a message. And let me create another parameter with the name called message. Okay, so now again we have to pass it here, and I will type it here. This is message, and apart from that, again I will type something here. So this will be kind of a message here, what we are writing. So I've added few message here. As soon as I will press Control S, we will get the name and message here. So let's just add a better style to it, like the name I will add in a bold. So even I will increase the font size, for example, let's say to 18, and I will add some font weight, for example, to bold. Okay, so now we have a name, we have a message here. Let's increase it more to, let's say, 24. So yeah, so now my requirement here is like you can add a better UI, because you already know how to use container, how to use column, how to create and add margin to it. So like that thing you already know. But the limitation here is, like, inside the code I have to add this whole thing again and again. I just don't want that. I want this data should be fetched from internet or database or from any API, and I just want to display this autonomously here. So for that, I'm just removing this whole of the code here from single child scroll view. And what we will use here is actually the list view dot builder. So I'm just using the list view here, list view dot builder. And here we have item builder, and inside item builder, uh, we have to pass various other parameters as well. So just hovering over item builder to know what all things we have to pass. So the first one is context, like you already know about the context, and second one is the integer. Okay, so I'm just adding the variable with the name or index. Okay, so that's all. So here we have a list or widget, and I can return whatever I want to. For example, I'm just returning it a text called hi. Just saving the code again, like running the code again, and here we have the hi infinite times, as you can see, because we haven't added the count how many times we want hi. So again, we the similar way we have item builder, we have another property with the name of item count. Let me just add 5 as the count, and now the hi will be printed 5 times here. I will just repeat what here is means. So we have created a list view dot builder, and inside whatever we will return, it will automatically, this is kind of a for loop is what you can say, but for widgets. The traditional for loop will only use for the programming concepts like that, but this is kind of a for loop which we are using for the widgets kind of. Okay, so like for example, if I want 7, I will just save this code and we will be having high 7 times. Okay, so yeah, that's good. But now our requirement is not to print high, but my requirement is to use this custom containers 7 times, let's say. So what I will do, instead of writing like that, I will just return custom container. And the custom container, like first you have to write some names. So I'm just writing my name, and let's just type a message. This let's say app. This is app dev cohort. This is app dev cohort. Okay, and I'm just saving this code, and now you can see we have printed that 7 times, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. If I want to print it again 100 times, I have to just type 100, and it will be printed 100 times again. So this is just running a for loop, but it is for loop for widgets. So how many times you have to use, you have to just add item count. Okay, so now you might again have a question, like again, this is a hard code, like you have told, like this is if I want a separate name, and I also want a separate message, how to do that again? Okay, right. So before I go with that, like is the list view dot builder is clear to you? Okay. If it is not clear to you, like you can just type it on the chat. uh, so if it is not clear, I will just repeat, and if it is clear, let we will move to some other concept. Yeah, so actually the YouTube live stream is a bit slow, so let me check after a minute. If you like, if it is clear, like you can just type it on the chat as well. Yes, clear. Okay, great. Okay, so as it is clear, like I'm moving to something new. Okay, so again what I want is the separate name and the separate message as well. So for that, what we will do, instead of typing like this the name and the message, what I will do, I will create another variable with the name, for example very name. And as the name here is not a single variable, but it will contain multiples name here. So for that, I will create a list of name here. The first name I will type is Sid. Another one, for example, can be the Ram, Sham, and some other as well, like Babu Rao, and many other names like we can create like this. And here we have the list of the name. And if I want to use it multiple times, like here we have 1 2 3 4 names, and we have added a list count as 4, so it will work fine. And instead of writing like this, I will pass the index here, because the index is storing the information about this variable. So index will start from 0 1 2 3 and 4, 0 1 2 and 3, and inside, like it is parsing it from here. So here the similar way we have created a name variable, we can create another variable with the name message, and we can just add the message here, like this is mess 1, and we can create multiple messages here, mess 2, mess 3, and mess 4. In similar way, we have to just use this message here, and we can pass index here, and we have to just run save this code again, and now we can see it is changed to message 1 2 3 4 again. But and if we want to again change the here, if I want to add another name here with the name, let's say ABCD, and if I again want to add a new message like mess 5, I can just run this code again. But now as you can see, like it is not visible here. The reason here is like we have set the item count as 4, so we have to again set it item count as 5, and now okay, so it is not visible. Okay, so whenever we do hot reload, it only refresh the content inside the build, and as we have created the variable, we have updated the value outside this build, so hot reload won't work, and it is still indexing to the 4 concept. So how to resolve this? I have to just again run this code. So I will refresh this code, and now you can see we have the ABCD and the message 5 here. Okay, so but again, like I just don't want, like whenever I add an item here, I have to again update manually here and there. So again, what you can do, like you can do is name the length you can use, so it will automatically fetch the length of this. So again, I can run this code here, and it will work. So if I will add another here with the name of def and message 6, and I will run this code again, and now you can see the message 6 will be visible here. So now it is a little bit more dynamic again, but again I have to manually add it here. I just don't want that. Instead, like just imagine this data is coming from some database, and we will append this information inside the list, and that list can be used again and again multiple times. So I'm just using this code, but let's just go to that API concepts once again. So okay, so it is, that concept is clear. Perfect. So I'm just repeating whatever we have done right now, and then again, like we will work, instead of adding manually that those items to list, we will fetch the items from some internet source. Okay, so the first thing, like to make it more dynamic, what we have done is we have used list view dot builder. Okay, we have used list view dot builder, and the use of list view dot builder is whatever function like we have created, or if you want to use some widget, it will work as like a for loop. It is not exactly for loop, but for understanding purposes, like you can you think of it like it is a for loop but for widgets. Okay, and here we have another variable with the name of count, for defining how many we want. But if we want infinite, like we like the by default value is infinite, but we want some finite values, so we can uh, use it item count here. Okay, and apart from that, like we have created two different lists, but it is not a right approach. The reason I am telling you this is not a right approach, because if I will add another thing here with the name of let's say some other, and if I will run this code, this will throw error. And the reason here is because it has the another with the name 6 here, but the message here is not appearing here. So because of that reason, it is showing error. So it is better to use the name and message inside a single variable. And how you can use it, you can create a map, or you can create a nested list for that. So just try out this feature. Like if it is not clear to you, like you can message me on LinkedIn or WhatsApp, like if you have any message, so we can clear out this part. But again, okay, so it will automatically be clear, because when we will fetch the data from internet, so we will be using the map itself. So just don't worry, we will cover it as well. So here we have item count, so that's all. Okay, so again now, so now what we want, instead of manually adding the items to the list, I want this list items to be fetched from internet. And how we will be going to do that is by API. Just a minute. Oh, laptop battery is low. Okay. So API. So let me just explain you what is API. Okay, so let me just explain you what is API. Okay, so here let's just take an example like what I generally give is of Uber. Okay, so the main use of the Uber company is to provide the cab service, but because of that cab service, they want the main requirement here is of maps. So Uber companies have two options here. The first option is to like create their own maps. For that, like they have to launch satellites, they have to hire various engineers, and they have to like go various places just to locate that road and each and everything. Okay, so that is the first option. The second option is like Google, the company which has the Google Maps, like they have the world class maps available, so they can just contact Google Maps company, so like if they can provide their maps to in their app. Okay, so they have the option of Google Maps. Yes. So the Google already have the world class map available. So what Google will say, you can come to us, like we can provide the maps to you. But how the Google Maps and the Uber app can be integrated? Okay. So for that, there's a concept of API. So what API exactly means here is like the by the use of API, we can connect our app to some other app as well, or like it is not like API can be used for some other app as well. Even if you want, if you have created some kind of custom backend or something, like you can just integrate your app to that there. Okay. So again, let me just explain. So here we have a Uber, and here we have the Google Maps. Google Maps. Okay. So with the use of API, this both things can be integrated together. Let me just give you some other example as well. Like Instagram also have the option of location, and as well as it shows the weather information. So do you guys think like Instagram actually is measuring the weather of each and every location? No, right? So they are again using some kind of weather information from other servers. It can be open weather or any other website, but they're fetching the weather information from those, because those companies have set up sensor at various different places, and those companies are measuring the information, and they are sharing those information to Instagram. So we will be using some APIs here, and we will fetch the data from there. So various different APIs, like Google Maps has their own API. The Covin, like the vaccine app, like I've shown in the previous session, like they even have their own API. So you can just fetch the data from there, and you can just display that information in your app. So it is a little complicated, like if you are hearing for the API for the first time, but just don't worry, I will explain it in a very easy manner, so it will be much more clear to you. Okay. So let's just go to API. Okay. But before we go to API, okay. So like the Flutter SDK don't have any such by default inside their SDK kind of a widget that can interact to the internet again. But like we can install some packages they have not, like, because every app doesn't have a requirement to connect to internet. There are many apps, like for example calculator or calendar, they just don't want to be connected to internet. So by default, like they have not added those information, but they have told like if you want to use this, you can just import, like you can just install it, like the similar way we install something from app store, or if I talk about the programming language Python, we use that pip, like pip install. If I want to install something, so I can just use pip install, and then we import that library to use it in our system. So similar way we have that in Flutter as well. And so like they have okay, so we have a question, full form kya hai API ki? Okay, so the full form of API is application programming interface. Like just don't go with the full form, like the main thing is how you integrate that API, because I can guarantee you the 99% of app that are not just application or website, whatever you say, 99% have some link with any of the other API, the production ready app, like if I say. So it is very important concept, so just don't miss it. And let's just go to Google, and we have a repository with the name of pub.dev. So this is the official repository, official package repository for Dart and Flutter apps. Even we can, like if I create some custom UI, and I just want many other guys to use. Like this is an open source platform, like you can say. And if I create something, the cool UI, so if I want other guys also use, so they can just import my package and they can directly use that thing. So the package name which we will be going to use is HTTP. So here, here's the HTTP package. You can see various different points here, like 6953 likes, the 100% popularity this package has. And if you will click on this, you will find various different information available here. And this is officially created by the Dart team, Dart.dev. You will find the like who has created, which company or the guy has created it. So this is again the official package of the Dart.dev, like the Dart community has created it. And if you just want to install this, uh, okay, so before installing, like various other options are available, like the readme, sample, versions, scores. And here you can see the platform. As Flutter supports various different platforms, so all of those platforms are will be shown here. So it is so this package is supported is Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, web, and Windows. I just want to use install this. So for installing, again I'm going to code, and for installation we will go to pubspec.yml. Like we have already used the image, so we already know about this. But instead of going to asset folder, I want to install it. So what I will do is, below the Cupertino icons, we have to copy paste this. This is again written in the YML language, so just take care of the spaces. Like if you will write like this won't work. So just take care of, like it is written just below this. And after just typing it here, you just have to click the pub get. And now you can see like the three dependencies. And when I will go to the Dart package, I can just import this dependency. So here we have imported that dependency. Okay, so now this dependency is not created by me. Okay, this dependency is created by the Flutter team, the Dart team. So whatever information here is available should be available in their documentation. Okay, so I just have to follow this documentation. Everything is available here. The first thing, like what I have to do is I have to import this package here, as I can see in this example. So what I will do, I will import this package, and here I will just paste this here below this. And now you can see this package is imported. And again, like if you're familiar with the Python, we are renaming the giving the alias to it with the name of HTTP. So like if alias is not clear to you, like we are just giving it a nickname with the name of HTTP, like whatever we have imported right now. Okay, so yeah, so first we have imported this part. Like before that, like we can see which API we are going to use. So I've already have a API here, and this is API. Okay, so what exactly is API? Let me just explain you that. Uh, let me just open a terminal. Okay, so again, let me create a new page. So there are two ways to access a website. The first one is by browser, and another one is by terminal. Like yes, you can access any website with the browser as well and terminal as well. For example, like if I want to go to google.com, so I can just go to google.com, and this is how I visited this website from our browser. But again, I can access this same website from terminal as well. For that, we have a command with the name of curl, that is client URL, and I can just paste this website link here. And now you can see there's a website, but it is not the human readable format, because it is just the HTML and those code. Here we have the various different type of the content type and various different information we have. Okay, but this is the same thing. This is the same thing which the information which our browser gets. You can imagine the browser is actually the compiler which is compiling this information, and it is just making it a human readable format. Like whenever there is a image the tag, so it will convert that image tag to some image. So this is the same thing. Okay, so instead of like going to the google.com, what I will do, we have another URL with the name. This is it. Okay, so here I have already saved API here. So there are various different APIs. Like even I will share a repo with you where you can find all the public APIs for free. So here we have a website or I say API. which has all the information about the university. And here we have a parameter with the name called India. Okay, so if I change this parameter to some US, so it will display all the university of US. And if I type China, so I will get the University of China. Or if I add some other country like Nepal, so I will have the university information of Nepal here. So what is this country? So let me just explain you like this whole concept. Let me just type the YouTube here on Google. Okay, so here we have the whole complete URL. So the first thing what we have um, is what we called uh, as protocol. So HTTP is a protocol, and apart from HTTP, we have www.google.com. This is actually the domain name, or what I can say is the IP address, which is converted to the domain name system. This is hitting to some Google server. Apart from that, we have slash. After slash, what we have is actually the page. So the Google has a page with the called search, and after that we have the question mark, and whatever we have after question mark, we have the variable with the name q, and inside that q we are typing something, the YouTube. Okay, so that's all. So if I want to like Google Instagram, like, so what I will do, I will type Instagram here. So what exactly happening here is, as soon as I will clicking search, this parameter q is updated to Instagram. So let me just prove this thing. So instead, like, what I will do, I will not type here, I will just type, I will replace the value of YouTube to Instagram here. And what will happen now, as soon as I will click enter, now Instagram is getting loaded, and even you can see this information is getting updated. This is the same thing like what is happening here. Like, they have just created a user interface for that. The google.com is actually the user interface for that. So if I want to use something else like China, or as I've already shown to you, okay, so this is displaying the information in some kind of a language. uh, because here, as you can see, the same kind of thing here. First they have a square bracket, then they have curly brackets, again square brackets. So this is kind of thing. And this language, what we call is it as a JSON. So again, like, the full form of JSON is JavaScript object notation. Okay, and what is the use of JSON is what I say. What is use of JSON? The use of JSON is how that Uber app and how that Google Maps will be connected. Because, for example, the Uber app is created in Flutter, and the Google Maps is, for example, let's created in Python. So how those two apps will be getting connected? Okay, how the Google Maps company will share the information to Uber, and how that Uber app will be able to understand like whatever thing they have shared. So for that, we have another language with the name of JSON, and this is the every API in the world is created. Almost every API is created in the form of JSON. Like, we have another language as well called the XML, but even if you like, XML is just a kind of a, how we are. Uh, it is just some other, all the concept are same. It is just like the Python, Java, every programming language is for loop. Only things different is syntax. So even in JSON and XML, all of those concepts are same, just the syntax are different. Okay, so what will happen here is, in JSON language, what we have, it is started from curly braces, and it has the name and key value pair. Key value, a key and value. Okay, so sorry, it has a key and it has some value. And what I mean here is, the key can't be repeated, because that is distinguishable. For that, for the pair of the curly braces, it is distinguishable. For example, I want to parse the name and message. So what I can do, I can just add a name, and I can just add message. The name is said, and if I want to pass message, I can separate it by comma. I can create another key with the name of message, and I can add another the message here, message, and more information if I want to pass, for example, the date I want to pass, the time I want to pass. But the key name can't be same. Like, I can't have the another key with the name of message, because then we will not be able to fetch that kind of thing. So this is how JSON is written, and we can have various multiple the name and message, so that are separated. So even we can create a list format for that, and we can have multiple items here inside the JSON. So if it is not clear to you, like, we will again repeat this concept, so just don't worry. So as this is not in the human readable format, so I will just copy this and I will pass in JSON beautifier. So this will beautify the JSON. I will paste this here. Okay, let me paste it here. So what I will do, I will just paste it here. I will click on beautify and it will beautify it. So it is the same. The here we have the list, and inside the list we have uh, the first item of the JSON, and the first key we have is the country, and the value the country holds is India. Another field is state, the web page, and again uh, maybe a university have multiple websites, so for that reason the web page here is in the list format, and if there are multiple we can add comma and we can add multiple website here. So here the first is over, and then again we have multiple different kind of things. Okay, so that's all about JSON. Let's again go to the Flutter code. If you have any questions regarding this, like you can ask in the chat, and if it is good, like we will use this information, we will like this information can be updated every second or every minute or in a day, and we can just update this it is, and we can use it inside our app. Okay, so just type it, like if it is clear. If it is clear, you can just type it. Okay, so it will better for. Okay, Srishti, it is clear. Very good. Okay, yeah. So I think it is clear, and yeah, let's just fetch this information in our app. So again, like instead of okay, so let's just use this information. So again, I just don't know how to use it. So what I will do, I will go to their website, and each and every information regarding this should be available to their website. So meanwhile, any other messages or doubts? Okay. So yeah, it is clear. Okay. So let's just move here. So HTTP package, and here we have to first pass the URL. Okay. So the URL of our website. So whatever the URL we have. So what I will do, I will create a variable within the same format. And before that, like we will write everything inside a function. Uh, Fetch data from internet. I'm creating a function, and inside the function, I will create a variable with the name of where URL, and I will paste this URL here, the URL from here. So I'm just copying this URL and I'm pasting it here. Okay. Now again, like this URL is of string type. Okay, but I want to convert it to some actual URI. What we called it URI, like this will be actually not a string variable, but some kind of URL. So for that, we have to parse this thing. And how to parse, like this information is also available. Okay, okay, so they have already used it in that format. So instead of we have a function like the URI dot parse. Like imagine it is the same way, like if you want to convert integer to some string, so you have the parse function. So similar way we have the parse function here, and I will just change it to some URL. So now whenever I want to use I will be using the URI. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to create some requests. So okay, so now this thing like which we are using is called a get request here. So what we will do, we will be doing some get request here, HTTP, and inside HTTP we have some get request. Okay, and before I actually do get request, again, like the when we call to some API, it might take a various it might take 2 or 3 seconds as well, or a minute as well, we are not sure. So our app should not wait for that time. Like if I click on this and our app is got hanged till the time that information is getting loaded. And so this is not a good practice. So for that, what we will do, we will create a function with the name of async. So what now will happen is uh, I can add a await function, await line. So I know like this part can take infinite time as well, because we are not sure. So our app should not wait for this part. And again, the best practice is to write all of this thing inside the try catch block. The reason is like if the internet is not working in your phone, so this part will throw some error and again your app will get crashed. So it is better practice to use exception handling. So I will just copy this code and I will paste all of those code inside here. Okay. So, and I want to store this information inside a variable called response dot await, and here we are. And let's just print whatever information we get here. So if it is not clear to you, like even I will explain it in a minute. So let's me just run this code. Okay. So now nothing is getting print because we have just created a function we have not called, but we want to call this function. So what I will do here is, uh, let's just wrap this list.builder inside some column, and below this we can have an elevated button. And what we will gonna do in an elevated button, we can have a fetch button, and this fetch button will call to this fetch data from internet function. I'm running this code again. Okay, so here we have some error. The reason here is like here we have not defined the size of this part. So what I will do, I will paste this inside expanded. So I think now the error should be gone. Okay, so now the error has gone because it has taken the expanded the. So what exactly is happening here is, like, we have created a list view builder of the item of the size, but it doesn't know like how much the list view builder is already has this scroll property, so it is taking the infinite size kind of thing. Okay, but our elevated button also need to be placed. So because of that it was throwing some error. So what I did is, here is I've used the expanded widget, and what it will do, it will take the remaining space after what I've created below it. So first the elevated button has taken its required space, and after that whatever space is left, that space is dedicated to our list view.builder. Okay. So now what we have to do, I have to just click on this fetch button, and here something is happening, and we got instance of response. Okay. And response, here I have the multiple things. Only I'm interested in its body. So what I will do, I've changed this. I've clicked on fetch, and here now you can see the information, like whatever we are getting here, the information whatever we are getting here is printed in our app. And even this is the same as, like I've already told, we can do the same with the curl command as well. So like curl command I've pressed, okay, curl, and okay, why it is not working? No message found. I just don't know why it is not working. uh, might be the reason it is http, and the curl only support https. Let's just try again, because it should work. Okay, I just don't know why it is not working, but yeah, we have fetched this information in our app. So yeah, we have various different information like the country India and all. So now what we want, instead of printing it here on the here, I want to print this information to the UI screen. Okay, but now again this information is in the JSON format. I don't want this information to be in the JSON format. I want to convert it into some the Flutter variable, like what we have here, Flutter data type. So we have to parse this JSON, like we have to decode this JSON. Okay, so I'm just decoding this JSON, and I am parsing the response.data, response.body to here, and I will store it in another variable with the name of body, let's say body. And instead of printing it here, I will print directly the body. And now the data type of the body will be actually the map, because JSON decode returns map here. And Flutter, this is exactly like the map, the key value pair, but it is different data type here. So now we have the we have the body. Okay, and you might okay, so you might get you might have doubt like why we are using the body, because we have various different information available, like the status code. Status code is like, if you access, like you might have accessed any website, and it shows the 404 error, so that is called a status code. So we can just first check it before adding it. Like if the status code is 200, the 200 status code is like the website is successfully loaded. So for that we have the code 200. So you can just add a another check here, if the status code is 200, then only process to this block. So this thing is I'm skipping now, but you can just add another thing, like it is already, I think it is clear to you. Okay, so my interest is only in the body, and what I will do, I will update this body. Okay, so now what we will now what we will be going to do, we will not use the name and the message, but instead we will be directly using this body, and this body, let me just again print this body, clicking on the fetch, and let's just print this body. Inside this body we have a list, and inside the list we have various map, and the first one is the country and state. So let's just focus on the name of the university, and let's print some other information. Okay, let's print the state province. So instead of printing the name and message, what I will be printing here is the name and the state province. Okay, so let's just go here, and what I will do, I will create another variable with the name of the university info. Okay, so I've created a variable with this name, and I will update this information. And how to do that, what we will be going to do, we will be using set state, and inside set state what we will be updating this information, university info and equals to body. So we are saving all the information of body inside this variable. Mm. And apart from using the name and the message, what we will be using is body, the not body, university info dot length. Okay, so this is a map. For example, like let's just hard code it to 4. We will come to this after that. And if I want to use it again, so what I can do is I can use body, university info, not body, university info, and the first object, like what we want here is index, and after index what I want is India. Not India, the first one is country. Okay, so I'm just fetching this information here, country. Just reloading this code again. Okay, so we have some error. So let's focus why we are getting some error. Okay, so okay, so the initial, this value is null, so I have to click on fetch. I think after that it is working now. It is working now. The reason here is the initially its value is null, and we have already added the 4 count here. So for that it is showing null. So we will rectify this issue again in some time, but we just don't want to use the country. We want to use name here, so I'm using name here, saving this code. And apart from in message also I don't want to use it. And instead of message I want to use state province. So I'm just copying it, I'm pasting it, reloading the code. I know it will crash. The reason here is we have already used the 4 count, and it has not already fetched that data. So what I will do, I will click on fetch again, and here it is printed. But again some error, the null type, maybe. So again, why, let's just switch to 3, or click on fetch. So the reason here is like the 4th item might not have the state province or the name available here. So that can be the reason it is crashing. But yeah, so even you have to add some check there. So right now I have already, you can add a null check, like if its value is null, like then you can put its value to null there. Okay, so yeah, so here like again we have added some kind of dynamic data here. How to add the dynamic data, you already got it. Like here we have fetched this information, and after fetching, what we have done, we have displayed it here. Okay, but now my requirement here is like not to click on this, like after clicking it is changing. Okay, but I want it automatically should be fetched. Okay, so even we can change that, but before that I want uh, Okay, so instead of let's just add instead of name we can add country here, so it will not crash because the state province might not be available for each and every thing. So I'm just changing it to country, and let's change to state. So just for checking, like we have the name and country available for each and every item. And yeah, so name and country is available for each and every item, so it is fetching properly. Okay, but my requirement is to fetch all of those info. I just don't want to uh, do it like it. Okay, so for that we what we can do is we can use university. So okay, so instead of typing it like this, we can add first like uh, in the list format. Now it will have university info dot. Now we can use length because ultimately it is map. Inside list we have all the information of the map, and now it will work perfectly. As soon as there's no error, if I will click fetch, it is fetching information and now it is displaying on the screen. So now there's no error, and yeah, it is displaying. But again, my requirement is not like this, but instead what I want, as soon as the app is started, it should automatically fetch. I just don't want to wait. So for that we again have another function uh, with the name of init state. Like what will happen as soon as our app is started, it is like a constructor. uh, like this function will be called automatically. So if I want to use this, what we will do, instead of calling it inside elevated function, like I will let's just remove this function elevated button, and let's call our function inside init state. And I'm just running this code again, and let's just see. So it has directly load all of those info. I just don't have to click on any button. Let's just click again, and yeah, it is displaying again. So let me just mm, revise whatever we have done till now. So the first thing is we have gone to the pub.dev. The reason is like the Flutter SDK don't have information how to connect to the outside internet. So because of that, we have gone to pub.dev and we have installed this package with the name of HTTP. After that, we have imported the HTTP library with the name of HTTP. And after that, we have created a function with the name of fetch data from internet. And the reason we have put async is like the API might take we just don't know, and we just want the user can interact to the app at that time as well. So that is the reason we have added the async. And after that, like we have added our API inside the try catch block. And the reason here is like if there is no API, like if it is showing some error, so it will not show the any error. And so that's the reason like we have used this. And then we have passed it to some URI, and the reason here is we have converted this string to some URL, and then we have used the get request. Okay, so what is get request? So we have various different um, things, uh, to type of request, the get, push, post, and many other requests. And this API is of type get request. So for that, I've used the get request. And then the response here is the response dot body is of JSON type. So we have decoded the JSON with the another function. So already Dart has this function available. Okay. And even this function is imported. So dart.convert, but this is already available in the Flutter SDK. So as soon as I type JSON decode, it automatically imported the Dart converter. And then we have then we have set state the value inside the university info. So that's all. Like if you have any doubt, just type it in the chat, or else we will move to next part. If it is clear, let me just wait for a minute. In the meantime, like I'm just changing the value, like just changing the value to China, or some like China. I'm changing its value, and as soon as I will click on here, now it has load all the info from China. Okay, so now what your task is? Okay, so now your task is make this uh, kind of a variable. For example, what I will do, where country, CONTRY, country equals to, for example, by default it is India. So instead of hard coding it here, what I will do, I will use the variable country as country variable here. So everything will be same, but now I have the chance to update this in future. So now what your task will be is to create a text field here, and whatever the user types here in the text field and click on the button, then then the information of that should be displayed in the next page. You already know how to create a next page, just try it out. How to pass the information from first page to second page, just try it out on your own. Just you can use Google, you can use Chat GPT or any other platform to find out. The reason here is you will be cleared many other concepts. Like I have taught each and everything to you, apart from how to pass data from here to here. Apart from that, everything is taught to you. Just try and implement this. Okay, so even before like displaying to some other page, what you can do here, you can display it below this part first for display it here, and after that display it in another screen as well. If you face some issue here, for that what you can do, I also have a video on this topic. So just go to the channel, optimizers flutter optimizers, and here I have a video on create vaccine app in Flutter. So the similar way, like uh, like we have used the university. So here I've used the vaccine data inside the app. So what I've done, like as soon as I will enter a pin code and click on submit, uh, as soon as I will enter some pin code and click on search, it will open a new page and the information of those vaccines will be displayed here. So just try it out. You will learn many new things when like you can use it as a project. Okay. So okay, so it is clear, perfect. So now we have learned about API. Now we have learned how to dynamically display the information in our app. So only thing, okay, so now we are ready to integrate some AI inside our app. And the meaning of AI is like we will be using the OpenAI model, and we will be displaying that information inside our app. So for that, I'm just heading to the openai.com, and I'm just clicking on login. And here we have two options, the Chat GPT and the API. So okay, so the similar way that university has the API, so even OpenAI model has the API. So as all of you already know about the Chat GPT, so Chat GPT you can use it as a web app also. And if you want to use that the GPT-3 or GPT-4 model inside your app, so that thing also you can do. And for that you just have to uh, those guys have created the API. You can just, okay, we ran into an authentication. Maybe because of that open it. Oh, okay. Okay, so it worked. Okay. So for that, we have the API keys available. They have the complete documentation available, and only thing we have to do is like we have to just use all of those inside our app, and we will be able to fetch all of those info. Okay. So I want inside the API, what I want is text generation is what we will be using. Okay, so here we have the API of the text generation and the curl command. As I already told, if you want to try it out, just first copy this code and you can paste it inside the curl and it will work. So here we have the curl, and apart from that curl, we have various different key as well. Okay, so that university information is completely free to use. Like they just don't want you to track how much you are using. But in the Google Maps example, like what I've discussed of the Uber and the Google Maps, there what was happening here is the Google Maps want to be paid. Like if the Uber company is using the Google Maps, so the Google Maps want, like instead of you going out and creating the map, just use our map and just give us the royalty how much you are using. And how the Google Maps will know how much Uber has used, how much Ola has used, how much Zomato have used for that. So for that, what they have done, they have created their API key and they have told now we will track you based on your API key. So just don't share your key with anyone. Like and whenever you will make any request using your specific key, then we will know, okay, so this is Uber and this is Ola. So the similar way OpenAI is also tracking us with the key here, and for that we have to create a first API key here. So I'm clicking on generate new secret key and just create it with the name of appdev. So I'm creating a API key with the name of appdev to create secret key. So I'm just copying this key. So this key will not be visible again. So just copy this key and paste it somewhere. So safe. So even if it is deleted, you can create a new key. But I just don't want it again. So I just pasted it here. And yeah, so here we have our key. We just want to use this key inside our code. So this is fetch data from internet. So I'm just keeping this function as it is. But instead, what I will do, I will create a new function with the name of let's say open AI fetch, and here we have a function with the name OpenAI fetch, and instead like just keep it like this, and let's create a new page so it will be better. I'm creating a second page with the name of second, and let's create a stateful my second. Let's quickly do each and everything. Scaffold, creating an app bar, title with the name of text. Here let's type OpenAI, and I'm just adding it inside here my second, running this app again, and here we have our app bar. Okay, so now what we want here is we want each and everything to be same here. So let's just create a new function here with the name of fetch data. Okay, the similar way we have created a function here, so similar way here I'm creating this function, and let's create this function outside here. Okay, so we have a function with the name of fetch data from internet and fetch data from OpenAI. Let's say fetch data from OpenAI, and again this function will be async because you already know the reason why we are using async here. So here we have the function async. Okay, so again we have to do the same thing here again. That is, we have to import that package here, http. So I'm just copying this code here and pasting it here. Okay, so now again let's go to the OpenAI website, and all of the code, like all of the information, like whatever we want should be available here in their website. Okay, so again going to the, not the playground but the documentation, and what we want here is the text generation. They have various other API as well for the image generation and all, but I'm only interested in their text generation, like the by default whatever the chat GPT has. But instead this is not the get request, but instead it is a post request. So the previously whatever we have used was the dot get function, but now we will be using is the post. Okay, so let first I'm copying this URL and just creating the variable uh, in a similar way what we have done there. So variable URL equals to URL, and after that converting it to the URI. So you can just even do it in a single line as well, URI dot pass, and even you can directly paste it here as well. So just it is for your better clarity, I'm doing like this. Okay, so we have the URI, we have the URL here. Now what we want here is, again let's go to the website here, and here we have the two different headers. Dot h represent header, and here we have the body. Okay, so this is kind of a post request, so it has various other parameters as well. Like here only we have the country, but here we have the various other parameter as well. So what I will do, I will create a new variable with the name of header, and below that header I will parse this same thing here, whatever we have here. So we have two things here, and again this is of the JSON kind of thing. The map, the first one is the key and the value, key and the value. So I will create in the similar way. Uh, the first one is content type. The second one is application.json, application/JSON. So this is basically we are defining more information here about, like we have the API key, we have the authorization, we have the content type, so various other things we have. So we are just defining all of those here. So authorization and bearer, and after bearer we have to paste our API key, bearer space, and here we have to paste our API key. So I'm just copying this here, and instead of directly pasting here, the better thing will be if I want to use this API key various other place as well. So I will type it inside. Um, I will store it in a variable. Okay. So API key here we have added. So here we have added the header part. So apart from header, also we have few other things as well. This is basically the body. So even I will do the same thing. Variable body. So if you already know the Postman, so even in the Postman is basically the software for this. Instead of typing it in the curl, you can use that Postman as well. And if you already know the Postman, there we type uh, the URL and all of those information. So we are just typing, we are just writing the code for the same. Even for the few language, even they have added, like for the Python, they've already added the code. Node already they have added, and here we have the for the curl, but the Dart they have not added. So we are converting this curl, this API to our Dart code here. And as we've already defined, this is of the JSON type. So what we have to do, we have to encode this the body inside that. So before that, I'm just copying this thing, and here we have the model. I'm just typing it here, pasting it inside model. Apart from model, we have the messages here. So I'm typing the system message and the user. Okay, so just two messages I'm typing here, the the use this one and that one. Okay. Okay, so why is it showing some? Okay, so it is messages inside the list. So first I have to create a message here. I have not created a message inside list. Okay, yeah. And even the message here should be okay. So I think it should work. And all of this information is actually decoded in the JSON format. So I'm just cutting this information and I'm using the JSON decode, because this is basically a map. Oh, again, it is showing some error. Uh, just a minute. Let's me again check it. Okay, so here we have model. Okay, so let's first remove this part from here. So why is it showing some error? Decode. We have model, we have turbo. It is also separated by this. Is the argument date type map string can't be assigned to the parameter, can't be assigned to the parameter type string. Okay, let me just remove this. JSON decode. Why it is taking it as a string? This you should take it as okay. Okay, so everything was perfect here. So we have to don't use decode, but we are converting this string to some encode, like we are converting it to JSON. Okay, so instead of using decode, we should use encode function here. Okay, so my bad. So I'm just copying, changing this code to encode, but again it is showing. Okay, so we have to not use this. Okay, so now it is working fine. Just running it again to just check it. Okay, so now it is working fine. Okay, so now we have added the model, we have added our message, like what we have it here. Now only thing what I have to do is I have to do a call. Okay, so now how we are doing the call previously, uh, uh, we are http dot we have already imported HTTP, and now we will be using the post request. So now I'm not using the now I won't be using the get request, because their team has decided, instead of because they are passing the various API key and all of those info, uh, this all info can't be passed inside the URL. So their team has, instead of going with the get request, this API is created with another type with the name of the post. Okay, so here we have passed the URI, and apart from the URI, we also have to pass various other information like headers and the body. So I'm just passing the header and comma body, like what we have created it here. And just let's just call, and the better practice is always to add all of this wherever we are doing the call. Type this it inside the try catch block. Like from here to here, we already know that our app will not be crashed, but after that it can be crashed, because here only we are doing the API call. So I'm just writing our code inside the try catch block, and just load this response here. Response equals to, and await. Okay, so let's just reload our code and let's see how it is work. Okay, so we have created the API, but we are not calling it. So what I will do, I will create a elevated button. Inside elevated button, let's create a child with the name of text fetch, and let's create an on press button. Inside on press button, we will be fetching this code. Fetch data from OpenAI. Okay, so here we have the response, and I'm just going to print the response dot body is what we usually prints, response dot body. Running this code again. So here we have our fetch, and I'm clicking on this. Our message is a required property. So here we have added the message, but it is not showing. Let's just check messages. Okay, so we have to add messages, not message. Running this code again. Okay, so now we have our answer. So so here this is the by default message, like what we have given to ChatGPT. Like if you just don't want to add this, like we can even remove this. And again, I'm running this code here. I'm clicking on fetch, and as soon as I clicked on fetch, and this was our question: who won the World Series in 2020? And it has answered: the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series. Even if I want to change this question, like as this is ChatGPT, it know almost everything here. So let's just ask the very simple thing: hi, how are you? How are you? It will answer, and I'm just clicking fetch, and it just answer, hello, I'm an assistant, so I don't have feelings, but I'm here to help. How I can assist you? Let's just ask, what is Flutter? Okay, what is Flutter? I'm clicking on run, clicking on fetch again, and and now you get the information. Flutter is an open source UI software development kit developed by Google, and all of the information you get it here. So various other information also you get here is the time, the model it is using, and how many tokens and prompt it is using. So I just care about the message. So you can go inside, you can first decode it to the map format, and then you can go inside uh, the this map, and then go inside the choice, and then you can fetch the message if you want to just fetch the message. Okay, so that's all. You can create a better UI for that, similar to WhatsApp, and the similar that the chat GPT has. By clicking on that, it will automatically fetch the code and it will display it here. Even like I have the app which I created a few year back before chat GPT. Like I can show you like how UI, what kind of UI you can create for this app. So here, yeah, here I have that app. This is created in Flutter. Okay, so I'm just running this it here, fast forwarding it here. So like you can create a similar kind of UI. Here we have a text field, we have icon button. As soon as I click on this, it should fetch the data from the API, and instead of doing the hard code thing here, you can change it to some variable, and on clicking that, it should get the question from the text field, and it should update it here, and according to that it will fetch the data, and then again you can display it on the screen. So all of the concepts I've already taught to you, you just have to use it, all of those concepts together. So here, like I've created, like this is not the ChatGPT API, but instead I have created my own server, and this is the API for that. uh, so here, like this is basically the Linux operating system, but it is the all the commands which Linux has, I can use it by the tech in English text, like create a folder. So on the server, it is running mkdir command and all. So the similar kind of UI that you can create it here. Again, like I have another video here, like is what the recently, even the OpenAI also supports the DALI 3. That means like you can create images also inside the Flutter app. So even for that, here I have the video. uh, you can just check it out. Like I've just added a prompt here: cat fighting with a dog, and create on generate, and here you can see the images generated. So again, I'm like doing some API call here to the website. So the complete tutorial I have made it here, so you can just check, you can just check out this tutorial as well. So again, like if any doubt you have, like you can ask to me, and if everything is clear to you. Yeah, let's just wait. If it is clear to you, like just type it in the chat as well, or else, like as today is the last day of the cohort. So apart from that, after this cohort as well, like if you have any doubt, like you can just connect with me. So on LinkedIn or WhatsApp or Instagram, like wherever you want, like you can just connect with me. But DALI 3 is paid, na? Yes, the API is the credits are paid, but uh, if you have the initial $18 credit, like you can use it if you want to use. The similar way, like we have used the text generation API. So in the OpenAI website, you will find various different things as well. In the video also, I've explained each and everything for the DALI 3 if you want to use. Okay, so it is clear. So yeah, so that's all. Like you guys can connect with me, or like I can share my link tree. So if you want to connect with me on other events, like if I even post about different events as well. uh, I also create content on AI and various different things. Like I have two channels of YouTube. uh, the first one is, like you already know about the optimizer, it is coding channel. And apart from that, uh, I also have another channel with the name 07. For that, I post about the latest technology and the business, or all of that. Will we get the offline ceremony? We will update you about this information on the group itself. Will we also get swag for this cohort? Like if you will create some outstanding project out of it, yes, you will get some swag from us. Okay, and even like if you have any feedback for me for this cohort, or for future as well, so it will be better. Like I will improve in future as well. So I think there's are no questions. Like we can end this session. So if so we can have some new cohort as well. So we will be posting on online on social media as well. So you can follow Reskill, you can follow EasyDev, and you can follow me as well. Like if there will be any, like I will definitely post it on there. So yeah, see you guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye everyone.